Hi, beautiful.
Lonnie, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you all good.
Okay.
We're
Yay!
so back.
We're back.
We are so back. I already have it recording. I just scarfed down my
Oh,
post-workout meal.
good. Hello, everybody.
Hello,
I'm glad I
everybody.
didn't answer like I'm normally like running around.
I know. We're both like always doing something, I feel like.
Yes, but guys, we are back and we're gonna fit it in. I just got done at the gym and just ran in here. I know Lonnie and Bradley just got done working out.
Yeah, we just got in a back day. I feel so good. I had some chicken and sweet potato.
Oh, yum. I had my chicken rice pineapple teriyaki meal. I was like scarfing it down on the way.
You inspired me. I need to do that again. Is it the G Hughes teriyaki?
Yeah, and someone
Yeah.
was like, you should try the orange chicken one, but it's really good.
Ooh, yummy.
But I think I'm gonna switch gyms. I think I'm gonna go to the Crunch that's 10 minutes away. I think
Yeah.
driving to AR an hour there and then an hour back is just too much with everything else I have going on.
So much. Yeah,
And they had
especially
glute
you with your
builders. They
work.
had glute builder and booty builder stuff, and I was like, what?
Awesome. Awesome. So would you go like straight from work to your workout?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's actually what Bradley and I were just talking about is like I was chatting about like, okay, well if you go before you go to the office and
hmm
then we're talking about like what do you eat before and after. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll get into it because I know we're on a time crunch.
Yeah, I'm so excited, honestly, to just hop on this episode and chat. I mean, it's been a minute, guys, since we filmed an episode, so this is going to be really fun. We honestly wanted to do like an update with how things are going, and also just, I think the general theme of this episode that Kate and I were talking about was just what we've learned in fitness over the years, as competitors, but also just as people that go to the gym and as people that want to eat their best and look their best and feel their best. So I'm excited to hop into it.
I am too. I think the last time we podcast this, I was still living in Georgia, so it has been a minute.
Oh,
Yeah, but
that's
I
crazy.
guess
And I wasn't married.
yes, literally, yeah, a lot's happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Alani, guys, she came to Texas this past weekend, so of course we got together, and we were just like, wow, we've just got to get it started back. So much has happened. So
Absolutely.
I guess do you want to start with the update?
Yeah, let's start with an update. I mean, first of all, I'll start with Texas. Texas was so fun. Bradley and I both, I think, I've never been to Texas. And it was great. It was a great time. And I think what made it even better was that I got to see Kate. And it's so fun when you have friends they have the same, goals as you. And it's fun. So we got in a great leg day workout. And oh my gosh, you guys, we chatted for like 2.5 hours.
We had a good mouth workout and legs. We're there for the
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was so fun and it was nice to be able to like push each other and yeah, so that was great. It was a great trip. It was for Bradley's work conference. So we were there with his family and to dinner or got together for dinner, I should say, with me and Bradley, Bradley's parents, Kate fiance's Lane, his mom, all of us went to this incredible Tex-Mex place. We have been talking about this place nonstop ever since we left Kate. It's so good. It was
Oh, it was
amazing.
so fun. It was so fun,
It
guys.
was
We literally
so fun.
sat there for 2 hours, and they told us we were only supposed to be there for 90 minutes. And at like
Yeah.
7:40, we were like, "Oh, we better go."
Yeah. And we made this reservation like 2 weeks in advance, but it was called Las Palmas, right?
Las
And
Palmas,
where
yeah,
was
that's how
that?
you say it. It was in
Was that in
uptown,
Dallas?
uptown Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to get
Amazing.
reservations
Such a
like
cute spot.
a month, a couple weeks in advance.
Yeah, it was great. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because one of the topics we wanted to talk about was free meals and like eating out and how we've, learned to approach those with flexibility, but also, living in that good zone where we're still feeling good and it's being intuitive. And that's something that I know that we've learned a lot in our fitness journey over the past few years. But we'll talk about that in this episode. But we got some Wagyu fajitas, Kate and I both, and they
Yeah.
were great. But anyway, so for an update, since the last episode, gosh, I mean, I'm still in a growing season. So we had Bradley and I our wedding in March. And at the time that we're filming this, it's now end of April. So it's been almost 2 months of being married, which is amazing. And I did a little 4 week mini cut right before my wedding, and I felt so good. Like I felt, I still had energy. I felt a little bit more confident in my skin, so that was great. I'm glad that I did that. And then now I've been slowly reverse dieting out of that and bringing up my food closer to maintenance. And my last like 2 to 3 weeks, I have felt so much more like myself. I know that Kate and I were talking about this, so I won't ramble, but like ever since last competition season for me, it was a tough one. It was a tough prep for me. So it took a little bit longer for my body to bounce back. And now I feel like I'm in a really great spot. Like training is great. I have more energy. I'm feeling good. So that's my little update. And we closed on our first house. So a lot of milestones. It's been awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much my update.
Yeah. I honestly could ramble about all the updates, but I'm not. I
So
think I'm just
awesome.
gonna keep my life update short and sweet. Of course, I moved to
Yes.
Texas, started my new job. I'm loving it. It's just 5 days a week, 8 hour shifts. It's my sleep's the best it's ever been. I'm sleeping like 7 to 8 hours, and I'm just like, wow, this is how it
Finally.
is. This is what
Yeah.
recovering feels like. So that's been great. But I do want to spend a little bit more time updating you guys like on my bodybuilding health stuff because I feel like that's what
Yes.
everyone wants to hear. Um,
Absolutely.
so you guys know, I think the last time we podcasted, I was like ending my gut protocol. So food was not really low, but my carbs are really low. Y'all know that. I had candy and
Yeah.
I had to cut my carbs. So now, flash forward to April, whatever it is, I don't know, 20 something. I'm eating 400 grams of carbs on my training days. On my rest days, which are 2 days a week, my carbs are at 300 grams, and then protein's high, fats are in a great spot. So I'm eating good, and I'm honestly either maintaining or some weeks when I check in, I've lost like 2 or 3 pounds, which is crazy. Um, my body's just always one that likes a lot of food. I'm having to slow my stepper down here because I'm out of breath.
No, I love it.
Literally, but yeah, I feel really good. I'm recovering. My food's in a great spot, and honestly, I'm still hungry. I do feel like I could eat more,
Yeah.
but of course, we don't want to like gain a lot of body fat, so we're just increasing slowly. Like I feel like every other week we've made an increase for the past like 8 weeks or so.
That's awesome.
Um, so I feel great.
And how much are you increasing each time you increase, like generally over the past few weeks?
So my coach, he's honestly kind of done a different approach. Like he keeps me on my toes and never know what's coming. But I will say,
That's fun. I love it.
I know. Generally, he is increasing my training day food, and usually the increases are either 25 grams of carbs or to like 50, I would say.
Nice.
I've had increases where he's just increased my training day food by 25 grams of carbs, but this last week he increased my rest day food by 50 grams and then my training day food by 50 grams. So, I mean, I feel like they're pretty hefty
Ooh.
increases. hmm
Because
So
I was
I'm
gonna
feeling
say,
really
like,
good.
I think a lot of people,
So
yeah.
I did
Oh,
want to
I think it's
like
delayed. Hold
I know.
on.
I'll just keep yapping for a second. But I did want to touch on like my health side of things. So we just drew labs again yesterday. I still haven't gotten my cycle back, and that was the whole goal of the gut protocol was to regain my cycle. Maybe it was like my gut, something was throwing something off in my brain through my gut. But nothing back. But I do think maybe it just will take a little bit more time with sleeping. Actually, not going to a job where I'm stressed out, and I have like a normal schedule. It's only been a couple months of that, and how long did I work in ICU? And I was just stressed out for like 3 years. So I think that I just we'll have to give it more time, honestly. And I'm hopeful. So hopefully, labs that we got yesterday, they will kind of show like, hey, things are starting to pick up. Your recovery is better. Your stress is better. So I'm hopeful about that. But we are working with like a hormone clinic, so hopefully I can have some more input and suggestions to what I should do to kind of get things going optimally again.
I love that. Hopefully it's not too delayed. Are you hearing me like real
I
time
hear
now?
you perfect.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. No, I love that update, and I love that. I don't know. I feel like we get to share more on here than even we get to in some of our vlogs. Like, I feel like Kate and I have been on our YouTube game lately,
Yeah. I don't know.
which has
I
been
feel like
awesome.
I had a
So that's
moment
so
where I
fun.
slept.
No, I love it, and like even we did a vlog in Texas, and I had my little vlog camera and I brought it when Kate and I worked out. So that video is coming up this next week, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I'm glad that we're able to share stuff like that, especially like hormonally. I know that's something that something that's hormones are in a good spot. So somewhat similar to Kate, but kind of a different situation as well. Basically, I've just been, you know, pushing that with food and recovery, and it's so awesome to see how much of an impact that can make. And like you said, Kate, even with you just sleeping longer and having lower overall stress, that's awesome. So I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I'm just really ready to see what I can do when everything is like where it should be and like what I can do with healthy
Yeah,
goals because I feel like my whole like bodybuilding
yeah,
fitness journey I have not had optimal levels and maybe that's my fault for not taking a step back
yeah.
sooner. But as a 18, 19-year-old girl,
You
you're like,
learn,
there.
right? Yeah, exactly. It's such a priority. And I mean, even just like we're so ahead of the curve too, just from the habits that we've built in terms of like how we eat and just getting in resistance training. It's like, especially just as women, that's going to benefit us so much long term. And yeah, it's cool to see. So maybe you're like, oh, I could have done some things differently, but there's so many things that you're doing that are good too.
That's right. That's so true.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Well, I think that's a good opportunity for us to pivot into the first point, which when we were chatting back and forth, what Kate and I were thinking is talking about, you know, this idea of like preparing ahead of time when we come to, what we've learned over the past years in fitness and what we're doing differently. And I think Kate and I are going to have two perspectives on this, and I think this is going to be really important. But some of the things that come to my head are things like meals and training, and that could be between, travel or having a really busy work or busy life season and things like that, and just how our routines have changed. So, is there anything that kind of comes to mind for you there?
a big thing for me is always having not even like things prepared, but a plan prepared. And by that, I mean
Yeah,
go in your notes on your phone and map out your either your meal plans or know your macros and what you're going to hit. Plan ahead of like when am I going to prep all this food? How am I going to prep it? How much am I going to prep? And then go on to like if you're traveling or if like it's a work day, time block your days for the travel day or work day. Have like meal one at 8 a.m., meal two at like 11:30. Know when you're gonna hit your meals, know when you're gonna train. But I think a big thing is like even if you do like cook all your food and everything, you need to make sure you have enough food that you know how you're gonna prep it, how you're gonna store it. That's been a big thing for me. And then like with the training piece of this, know where you're going to train, know when you're going to train. I always am. I don't want to say
what
I'm
you're gonna train, yeah, what that workout's gonna look like.
right, and I don't hit like the same split every week. I hit the same workout, so I'm not doing like legs on Monday, upper on Tuesday. I changed my split throughout the week to fit my life and my schedule as someone that has like a change in work schedule and like things happen. Like this week when Alani came in, I changed my rest day to be our leg day so we could train and work out together. And it's something
Yeah.
as simple as that. You don't have to stress about it. And I think a lot of people think they need to stick to one like certain split or like their life is done for. And honestly, that's just going to cause more stress. So just plan
Totally.
ahead. And then routine, I just try to keep the same like routines that I have when I go and do things. So whether that be
Yeah.
like I'm going home, I still will wake up early, have my 30 minutes to myself, have my coffee. If I need to check in, I bring my check in stuff. And just like I said, just plan ahead. My notes app is my favorite thing on my phone.
Me too. It is full in there. I have so many notes in my phone. It's so funny. No, I love that. And I think that the point that you brought up around, you know, having flexibility in your training split is awesome. And there's something that I want to bring up with that because Bradley and I were actually talking about that on the way to the gym. And something that I've been working on is having flexibility too. I feel like it's like a sliding scale,
Hmm.
but I think something that's important, and I won't talk about it too long because I know we've talked about this in previous episodes, but it was like a light bulb moment when you mentioned that with your training split, you know, because I know when I'm onboarding a lot of my clients, because my clients, like, I don't coach bodybuilders, anymore. I focus on lifestyle people and people that just want to feel their best, look their best, and A lot of them have busy schedules. And one of the questions I get all the time at the beginning, and I think this is so important for people to hear, is there'll be like, oh, when is my workout going to change? Like, I've been doing the same workouts for 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh, no, like, we're going to be sticking to the same workouts for at least, 12 weeks at a time so that we can make sure that we're progressing in those. And I know that that's something that we've talked about, but maybe somebody's new here and needs to hear that because, like you're saying, Kate, you're like, I stick to my same workouts. Yeah, maybe move around the order, or we move around, like for example, today was going to be my leg day, but I wanted to work out with Bradley, so I did, back and biceps instead. But it's the same back and biceps workout that I've honestly been doing for the past 4 months, but I'm being intentional about progressing in each of those. And I think that that's something that I needed to hear like earlier on in my fitness journey. And it seems so second nature now. But a lot of people think that you need to be changing up the workouts every time, but then you're not giving your body a chance to respond. And like for example, we added like 10 pounds on the seated row and from where I did last week. And I'm like, holy crap, like this feels really good. And I'm like, if I was changing my workouts all the time, I wouldn't know that I'm able to progress and like catch up with my strength increases. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And people
Yeah.
that do travel a lot, or like you travel for work, you're on vacation, even if you can't hit the same workout with the same equipment you use every week or the same machine, that's okay. Stuff
Yes.
happens, that's fine. But you can train the muscle in the exact same way. And I guess this kind of goes for like planning ahead, but also training with intention, which was our second point. As long as you are working the muscle the same way, so let's say you normally do hamstring curl, a lying hamstring curl, you're working that hamstring in a lengthened position. Okay, well, your machine or your gym doesn't have a hamstring curl. Well, that's when you just like plan ahead and you just like sit down and you're intentional with what you're about to do. Switch it out for RDL.
Yeah.
Switch it out with a cable like cuff hamstring curl. Make it up. You don't have to
Yeah.
waste
Like
time.
what does this gym have that's going to mimic the same movement pattern, like you're saying, and then pivot from there? I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and I mean, unless you're in prep or something, it's okay. 1 week off of like your normal like workout split is not gonna hurt you. And like when Alani came
Absolutely.
in, I was like, you know what? What do you want to do, Alani? Because we knew we were gonna hit legs. We planned that ahead. We didn't talk about what we were gonna do, but when we got there, we were like, okay, well, this is what I normally do. So we both did RDLs. I switched out my hyper extensions that I usually do for hip thrusts because it's still that contracted movement. We did a line hamstring curl. And then what else did we do? Abductions. Yeah, instead of
We
kick
did
thrusts, we did
dumbbell
ab-
RDLs too.
yes. And I always do RDL, so I was like, I got to do RDL.
Yeah.
But like instead of like a hyper extension, I was like, let's do a hip thrust because that was just more fun, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to do hip thrusts with her.
Yeah. Yeah, and try out the new machines. And that's such a good point too, Kate, because like I remember, I mean, like once I was kind of into all this like fitness stuff, and then I feel like you kind of swing the pendulum the other way where you almost get this like perfectionist mindset. And like that would have stressed me out 2 years ago, being like, oh my gosh, I can't follow, the same workout routine and the machines are different. So the weights are going to feel a little bit different. So how do I know? And now it's just, oh, okay, this is movement. I'm getting in movement. I'm getting in resistance training. And yes, it's not my normal routine, but my routine is going to be there when I get home.
Right.
Right. So it's almost like that's something I wanted to bring up in this first point before we move on to
Yeah.
training with intention, too, is I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned over the past, gosh, I would say even just year, right? I've been competing for 4 years now, but I've been in the gym for like 6 years probably. And I would just say over the past year, I've gotten better about this of like in my head, there's this sliding scale, right? Where it's like on one end, you're too rigid, right? And on one end, you're too flexible.
Mhm.
And I think I'm still a work in progress, but I think I've done a better job of learning how to live in that middle area. Or I've been talking about this a lot with my clients and their check ins, like living in that gray area between too rigid and too flexible. And that's allowed me to, on these trips, yeah, I lean into preparation. I brought my chicken with me. I brought my sweet potato. I brought some avocado packs. And then I went to the grocery store and I picked up, banana and I brought oats with me. I brought simple things and then we had our free meals. So I'm living in that gray area, and I think that has honestly, like, if I could sum up like the biggest thing that I've learned over the past years, I think that would be the biggest one, and that's what's allowed me to make this, a lifestyle. As tacky as that sounds, like I think that's what brings you success in your fitness journey, whether you're a competitor or whether you're a mom wanting to feel your best. You know what I mean? Like, I think building this into your lifestyle instead of trying to make your lifestyle revolve around fitness is how you sustainable. So I think that was the biggest thing for
Yeah,
me, just live life fitness, is living in that gray area where, like, yeah, you have that preparation. Because I always say, I feel like this is one of my phrases, is like, if we fail, we're prepared. So I think that's my preparing. When I catch fail, preparing to fail,
I
right?
cannot
The
tell
theme
you
of today.
how many like vacations I missed out on
Everybody.
because I was so scared to like go and travel and go away from my gym, go away from my routine. But I don't think it's ever worth it. And I wish I could go back and tell myself that. Like, it's not worth missing out on these life pieces because you didn't have the same gym. Oh, Alani went away. So I'm just going to keep going, I guess. But like I was saying, like, it's not ever worth it to be like, oh, I'm not going on this vacation because I'm going away from my gym or my routine. Go on the vacation. You know what? The gym is always going to be there. Your routine's always going to be there. Those machines are always going to be there. But those family and friends that you have are not. And yeah, when you go on vacation, you need to plan ahead. You need to know, hey, I'm going to hit this day with my leg day. I know what meals I'm going to take and tell them ahead, like, hey, I'm going to take these meals. I'm going to take this time out of our day to make sure I can go to the gym. But you know what? Life is always not going to be there, and like family and friends are not going to be there. So I think that's what me and Alani both wanted to touch on. I guess next point, let's talk about training with intention until Alani joins back. Let me slow down my treadmill here because I'm out of breath. So training with intention. Um, we and Alani were talking about this while we were working out. With training with intention, it has been a work in progress for me, for real. We were talking about how, like, for the longest time, we would go, like, hit legs, we would do RDLs, we would do all these movements and not actually connect with what we were doing or the muscle we were trying to train and grow. And sure, like, it's fun to lift heavy weight, it's fun to, like, ego lift and just throw away around some heavy weight. But, you know, we're bodybuilders, we're not power lifters. So I think a big thing we were talking about we've learned is actually slowing down our movements, dropping the weight, having to like almost reset, and just really focus on the connection. What are you actually trying to do with this movement? And just being intentional with every rep and every movement you do. So a big one we were talking about when we trained this past Thursday is our RDLs. I used to like just throw around some weight, and I've been helping some girls at work with their RDLs, and I was like, wow, this is really helping me because I see what I was doing. A lot of people, you know, like just want to sling weight, they drop their body, they aren't really focusing on that hinge part of the movement. And that's something I really had to work on these past last few months. But moving to Texas was really good for me because I had to really reset my training. I was forced to reset the weight I was doing, the machines I was doing because I'm in a new place, a new gym. Um, but we just wanted to talk about how, like, even if you can lift heavy weight doesn't mean you should, you know what I mean? Because sure, you're moving from point A to point B, but are your glutes doing the work? And it can be really hard to just kind of restart and drop down, but sometimes it's needed for you to actually progress, you know? Like, if you're doing a hip thrust and you're only feeling your lower back, why are you doing the hip thrust if you can't even contract your glutes? So we just wanted to talk about how like you have to be intentional with your movement and your reps and everything you're doing because in our sport, if you're not intentional, you're not going to grow the right things, and especially for our division. Um, so let's see our third point. This was a big one, so hopefully Lonnie joins back for this one. But we wanted to talk about free meals and finding that sweet spot between being too rigid and too flexible. And y'all, gosh, this is something I've really struggled with. Alani!
Yay! Okay, awesome. I was like, no, I lost internet connection.
You left, and I was like, well, guys, I was talking.
I was literally texting you. I'm like, just keep talking. I'm
Oh
trying. We're
my gosh,
going through like the back roads right now.
you're fine. I kind of had moved already into that point of training with intention because I kind of focused on
Perfect.
our first point, and I was about to
Yeah,
get into our third point. But if you wanted to touch on training with intention with everybody, I was kind of telling them how we were talking about when we were doing our RDLs, how we had to really drop the weight and we just had to stop moving from point A to point B.
absolutely. And I think that was everybody talks about it now, which is great on social media of like, oh, make sure you're feeling the rep and make sure you're feeling the weight and you're actually connecting to the muscle. And I think I needed to humble myself a little bit and be like, okay, no, I actually have to check my ego. And like, there have been weeks where I'll kind of go back to like a ground zero, I call it. And I've done this with my clients as well, where I'm like, I'm going to go lighter than I think I need to so that I can really feel the contraction for each thing. Because if you're just throwing on an extra 5 pounds every single week and adding weight and adding weight and adding weight, and you're not actually creating that stimulus and you're not actually feeling the muscle, you're wasting so much time, right? Because if you're a competitor, no judge is ever going to ask you, oh, how much weight did you use on your lat pull down? You know what I mean? So I think that's something that I needed to humble for myself. And like we were talking about when we were doing hip thrusts, it's like, okay, I want to go light and actually feel the connection and then progress from there. And it doesn't have to be weight. It can be getting one more rep than you did last week. It can be slowing your tempo, or like you said, Kate, you're like, oh, I'll think about how much I felt that connection on a scale of 1 to 10. And if I got a better mind muscle connection this week, then I've progressed, right? I think that is so important. And so many people are like, oh, look at me, I'm throwing 4 plates on the hip thrust. But it's like, are you actually feeling it? Are you using your glutes, or are you like throwing around the weight, and like, don't be afraid to take that week where you decrease all of your weight and then you start progressing from there, because that is going to help your progress so much more than if you just keep building on it and not actually progressing.
Hypertrophy and muscle growth requires tension. And if you're just hip thrusting like 4 plates, let's say, you're probably not using your glutes unless you're some wellness Olympian pro. So you have to find the weight for you that you can actually use your targeted muscle, like your glutes or your back, whatever you're doing, and actually put tension on that
Yeah.
muscle. Because if you're just slinging around and going from point A to point B, you're probably not putting tension on that muscle, and the muscle will never grow. Your back or your rectors might grow, or your back might get injured. But yeah, I was just kind of telling them like, tension
Yes.
is everything.
Yeah. Or your traps. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we don't
It
always
is.
want to just
Awesome. Well, as we wrap up here, I know I have like a few more minutes.
yeah. We'll go ahead. We'll move on to point three. We need to do like a whole other podcast just over like training with intention, because I could just talk about it. So we'll move on to point three. Alani, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. So point three, we wanted to talk about free meals and our approach to free meals. So when Alani came this weekend, we both took our free meal out, and honestly, I do take a free meal out almost every week. Not every week, but I try to. And I used to struggle with this. I think I made a post on TikTok or somewhere. I used to take free meals and I would not eat all day. I would starve myself, just like in anticipation for that free meal, because I thought I needed to save all my food, all my calories, like bank them towards the end of the day for that free meal. But this would leave me, one, being miserable, low energy all day. And I almost would dread these free meal days because I was so miserable and so hungry all day. But then when it got time to go take this free meal, I was so hungry. I would overdo it. And I would be sitting there waiting for dinner and just being like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. I cannot wait to eat. I would eat too much. I would not get full. And instead of like enjoying the moment and the actual like social factor and the social meaning of this free meal, I couldn't even enjoy it because I was just so hungry and thinking about this meal I was about to eat. And this usually would lead me to like eating everything I could there and then like binging later on. And this only just hurt me, like I was overdoing my calorie intake for the day, like by a way amount. So I was like gaining extra body fat. I mentally was struggling with these days because I was so low energy and just like so wrapped up in this free meal that I couldn't enjoy the rest of the day and the actual meal itself. And it's taken me a lot of like work to get to where I am today. But what I found that works for me is now on my free meal days, I kind of like plan ahead, like we were talking about earlier. Me and Alani talked, we knew what our free meal was. I did go ahead and plan ahead. So you don't have to do this. I know some people like just take like 20 or 30% of their macros or calories and like cut them out. Or if like people on a meal plan, they'll take out their last two meals. But as I'm on macros, what I like to do is go in my chronometer app on my phone, and I like to almost like guesstimate what am I going to eat. So we got Wagyu fajitas with corn tortillas. I knew I was getting that, so I looked it up on the internet. Like I was like looking at like the ingredients, maybe like it's not accurate, but I was like looking at similar things. I plugged that in the best I could. It's not 100% accurate, like I said, but I did the best I could, and it was like a great estimation, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit under. But I just kind of planned my day around that. It was very protein heavy. I didn't get like a lot of like fatty things like cheese or sour cream, so it was kind of like I think it was like 30 or 40 grams of fat that I like plugged in. And then we got corn tortillas, so it wasn't carb heavy either. So I knew like I didn't need that much protein for the rest of the day. I could kind of stack my carbs up and kind of was like minimal with my fats just in case. But yeah, that's how I approach it now. This way I know like, okay, I'm kind of like close to my calorie intake. I'm not starving myself all day, but I'm enjoying a meal out without like totally stressing about it or being super hungry or like thinking like I'm going to derail my progress, you know? So that's honestly how I've approached it. And that's honestly what helps me. And it does allow me to like have that factor out with my family and friends where I don't have to stress about it. You know, I can just like have my normal day. I can eat my meals that I've like plugged in. I can go and train if I need to, and then I can go to dinner and not be like so like overwhelmed with everything or just so hungry. And it's been a big thing for me. And Alani, she got disconnected again. She has bad service, but she's been doing the same thing as well. So that's what I've really found that works for me. And I think honestly, I kind of want to talk about like how can you enjoy these free meals without totally blowing your progress, you know? I do think a lot of people think like this meal is their meal out for the week, so they need to just like go big or go home. And that doesn't have to be the case. Like, get what you want, yes, but just because you're getting this free meal out doesn't mean you need to like totally just go crazy. You don't need to go have like a dinner and then go have like two desserts after. It is a free meal for a reason. You're going to have a meal out with your family, get what you want, and then just get back on plan. You know, I think people either go too extreme with them or they don't know how to like people are too extreme with their free meals or they're too extreme and they don't know how to go enjoy a free meal. And it shouldn't be something you're overthinking, honestly. Like, and it shouldn't be something you're stressed about. I get excited to get my free meal. I don't stress about it anymore. And I go eat the meal and then I get back on plan. And that's what's really helped me. And I wish Alani could connect back because I would love to hear what she has to say about it. But that's what's worked for me. You know, a free meal is not going to derail your progress at all. A big thing I like to tell my clients is go have what you like. Go eat your meal and get back on plan. Eat till you're satiated. Don't just like overdo it. I do tell my clients to try and choose foods that make them feel good. You know, for me, I'm not someone that does great with dairy. A little dairy is fine, but I don't like to get a lot of dairy or just like a lot of things that I know that are going to make me feel sluggish because this makes me just like feel bad. It does affect my training the next day. It usually affects my sleep and it affects my mood. Like if I ate too much and I ate something my body doesn't agree with, I'm going to be bloated and that just puts me in a bad mood. So that's something I like to hold myself to and tell my clients as well. But free meals are not just about like the food, you know, they're about like going and doing something normal with our family and friends because, you know, we are constantly like always weighing our food out, plugging our food in. Even my lifestyle people, they stick to their meal plan, they hit their macros, and that free meal that I give my clients and myself is a time for you to not have to do that. It's really just like a way to minimize stress and just let you have a bit of that normalcy feeling, I guess you could say. But yeah, that's kind of what I think we wanted to touch on free meals. Let me see. There's a lot of.
We got Wi-Fi.
I literally
This
just finished up talking about how I kind of did my free meals and then kind of how like I coached my clients to take their free meals as well. Uh-oh. I don't think Alani has service.
Okay, there we go.
Oh
Can you hear
yay!
me?
Yes.
Okay, We found Wi-Fi. Okay, every podcast episode from here on out is going to go so much smoother, but we are making this work.
You know what? We're here, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, right? I hope that's all that matters.
It is. I know everyone's loving it. They're like, oh, I wish Alani would come back. This girl keeps yapping.
Where is she going? No, I'm sure they love it. It gives you an opportunity to yap without me interrupting you every 2
No, I
seconds.
literally just finished up.
Amazing. Okay, what'd you chat about? And then I'll build on it.
I kind of told them how I used to be with my free meals, and then kind of how I was showing you like how I
Yeah.
like plugged it in. We both were in the bathroom. We were like, "Whoa, I did this too!" And
Yes.
then I just kind of talked about how like people are too flexible, or then some people are just like loosey goosey
Yes.
and just kind of below it all. And there's a sweet balance, like with everything. There's a sweet balance, and I just kind of talked about how like it's not an end all be all. It shouldn't be like all about the food and you don't have to stress about it. And I just kind of talked to
Absolutely.
them like how I coach my clients through it, like their mentality going into it.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because I think it can be really hard. It's it's like a sensitive kind of topic, and it's hard to navigate, and it's something that I know, like you were talking about earlier, Kate, where it's like you've struggled with that almost like the restriction around it, and
Mhm.
like I think a lot of us have, and I think a lot of us have swung the pendulum the other way too, where like I would say I didn't realize that I was doing this, but my previous 2 off seasons, I feel like when it was time to go for a free meal, I would completely overdo it, and I didn't realize I was overdoing it. I would go out to eat and I was like, "Okay, this is my opportunity to just, like, eat everything I've been craving and get a big dessert," and, like, I would have such a high intake, which isn't a bad thing, like you said, it's living in that gray area. But I would feel so horrible after days like that. My stomach would like take 4 days to get back to normal hunger cues and hunger signaling, and I felt, just bloated and like my gut was distended, and I felt so gross after those meals. And I kid you not, after we had this refeed or free meal and had our wagyu fajitas, I felt really good the next day. Yeah, sometimes I still don't feel great, because maybe it's higher sodium or it's foods that we're not used to. And we both, did no dairy. So we didn't have cheese and sour cream, and that helps as well. But I think honestly, what I've learned this off season that has been the game changer for me is how to eat mindfully. And
Mhm.
that's one of the biggest things that I coach my clients too through. And I feel like that's probably what you were talking about, Kate, but it's like it's living in that gray area where it doesn't become this, glorified, like I don't want for I want like a less extreme version of binge eating because I don't want to call that binge eating. But
Glorified, almost like not cheat either, but glorified free for all. Like,
yes, like a free for all where, instead of it's again that scale of being too rigid and too flexible. And I think learning to live in the middle where you're eating what maybe you've been craving, what you've been wanting. Those wagyu fajitas sounded awesome. And it's going into that in an intention where it's like, hey, I'm going to eat the amount of this that makes me feel good. And I'm not going to have one little bite of it and call it a day. No, I'm going to have, I had like a good serving of it, but I was able to eat to the point where I was like, okay, I feel full and satiated,
yeah,
and not to the point where I kept pushing it to be like, I'm never going to be able to eat something I enjoy again. I think a lot of times that comes from maybe restricting yourself during the week, and eating so low or little foods or foods that you don't genuinely enjoy to the point where you're just looking forward to a cheat meal, right?
yeah,
Like we don't even really use the language of cheat meal. We use the language of free meal majority of the time because it's like, hey, this is something that like we're able to enjoy a meal out. And a lot of times what matters more than the actual food is like the people that you're with. As tacky as that sounds, it's like it's more than just what's on your plate, but it's like we were able to chat and talk about, your upcoming wedding, Kate, and like our wedding with, it's just like be able to spend time with those people, but enjoy that food because a lot of times food is more than just fuel. It's
yeah.
social and it's a time to enjoy with people too. So I think that's honestly the biggest thing that I've done is learn how to eat mindfully.
Something I
And
wanted to say
yeah.
with what you kind of were saying is just because you're getting something like something that you want is
Mhm.
not restricted. It's not restrictive if someone doesn't eat the whole thing. And I think a lot of people see free meals now as like this free meal means they think free meal equals let me eat everything I can and more.
Yes.
And that's not how it should be. Just because like someone goes and they get their free meal and they don't eat it all doesn't mean they're restrictive or you should come at them. They just
Absolutely.
anticipated. And honestly, it's so disrespectful to your body if you just go and you just eat till you are sick. Because that is so disrespectful to your body. Your body cannot
You
digest
deserve better than that. You know what I mean?
it. And get what you want. Get the best.
Yes.
I get anything I want. Like
Anything.
I'm not
I
just
wasn't like, what's going to be the lowest? Because we could have gotten chicken fajitas. Would that have
salad
maybe saved some fats? Yeah, we could have gotten a salad.
and
But
just
no, we got what we enjoyed. And we're able to utilize that in our training the next few days. And we're also not doing a bunch of cardio to make up for it. We're
right.
not under eating the next days to make up for it. And I think that's an
I
important point
actually
too.
rested the next day. I did not
Me
work
too.
on Saturday.
Me too. I had a full rest day. And yeah, it's like, I think this, and I could ramble on about this, we'll wrap up here. But it allows you to increase your overall food too.
Yeah.
Because now that I'm not overdoing my free meals, my overall food is much higher than what it has been in previous years because I'm not getting a majority of my intake from my free meals. So
From
I'm
what
able to eat more throughout the week and I'm able to increase my targets without my weight spiking as much because I'm controlling those free meals a little bit more and still having that flexibility, but having that structure that allows us to have that flexibility.
if you just go like a free for all, it's going to wreck your insulin sensitivity. It's going to wreck your
Absolutely.
digestion, and you're not going to be able to increase your overall like intake for the week. So if you just have that free meal, eat till you're satiated, maybe share half the dessert, and don't just get everything you can, you're going to be able to eat more. Your body's going to be
Absolutely.
able to eat more of a free meal eventually.
Yes.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we
It's
should
so
make,
cool.
I think we should make training like a whole podcast and
I think
like our
so.
training with intention, but also like talk more about free meals and our approach because I feel like we could really deep dive into it.
I think so too, because I think that really blends the line too between competitors and lifestyle people. Because I feel like we don't want to, we both have talked about how we want to be, for the people that are just wanting to make the most of their fitness journey, whether you're stepping on stage or not. And I think that's something that both sides of that, both groups need to hear. And it's something that I needed to hear. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it, honestly.
I do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I'm glad we both
Awesome.
had because it's funny we both do the exact same things, and I think we need to share what we do because I think it's a very
Yeah.
healthy approach
I
to.
agree. I agree. Yeah, a lot of mindset in there too. So
Yeah.
if there's anything that you guys, want to hear more of or clarify, like we're an open book. I wish that we, almost had ourselves, Kate, to like tell our younger selves what we know now and just how we approach things. Like I'm actually about to go enjoy dinner with my parents. That's what we were on our way to. And it's like I would have never been able to let myself do that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Or I would have, and I wouldn't have felt good the next day, so I think we've learned a lot. But yeah, anyways, if there's any questions that you guys have or anything we want to build on, we would just love to be an open book. So
Yeah, and we're happy to be back. I
yes,
think the
so
first
happy.
episode is a very like summary of what we are. Like we're so crazy and chaotic and busy, but you know what? We always get it in and we make it work. And we're happy to be
Absolutely.
back chatting with you guys.
I'm so happy to be back. This is awesome. It's been too long.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, let us know what you want to hear. I guess we'll be posting every Monday again. Question.
Yeah, question mark. I would say let's keep that same schedule.
Yeah. Let's just
Yeah.
try to record and post it when we can.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. This is gonna be awesome.
Well,
But we will see you guys all next week. And it'll be awesome. Yeah, we'll be posting on Monday morning, same that we were doing before. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. But we will see you guys next time.
bye.
Bye.